Transport is the lifeblood of any economy. The efficient, safe and affordable movement of people and goods drives economic growth and job creation. And while South Africa has the most developed transport infrastructure on the continent, inadequate investment and a lack of long-term planning has cost the economy dearly. Times are changing though, signaling a new era. The catch-up work began with the previous ANC-led government before the Government of National Unity. But with the appointment of the 7th administration, there is a renewed drive to address the challenges faced by the transport sector. Newzroom Afrika set out to assess the progress made around the country. Our journey begins at Johannesburg's Park Station, one of Africa's oldest and busiest transport hubs, moving people on rail and road, as well as linking them to air travel.
It's an intermodal station. You are connecting the east and the west and the north. Gauteng is divided into 3 corridors. Corridor from Pretoria all the way, it all ends in Johannesburg Park Station. From the east, Davidton Springs, they all end also into Park Station, including Yonaledi, Midway, they end from a commuter point of view. It's the main departure of our long distance trains, where now people who want to go home to our rural areas and cities, they are able to connect from Park Station. Over and above that, we have buses that also depart from Park Station to various areas across the country. More so, we have also taxis. So it's a hub where now everybody who wants to commute can connect. The beauty again is that we are able to connect with Gautrain right here in Park Station.
However, there have been problems with the long-distance trains running smoothly from the Park Station since 2020.
Most often or not, our services are disrupted because of the theft that will happen in between the cities, which affects our recovery.
It is not only PRASA network that was impacted by vandalism, but also network that is our sister company's network, which is Transnet. Now, on the Transnet side, all people will hear is that goods are not getting to the port on time. Transnet is hard on a recovery program. As they are recovering, so will PRASA be able to then put in the long distance trains in order for them to then travel from Johannesburg to Cape Town. Look, at the moment, what was traditionally a 26-hour journey from Cape Town to Johannesburg, it now rides almost 48 hours, and it becomes not competitive when it's compared with road transport.
We do have a program that deals with the overall long distance recovery of PRASA, which talks to the integration of the buses and the train service, so that we are able to offer that end-to-end. So with regards to MLPS for now, we are focusing heavily on your seasonal period.
There will be no long-distance trains leaving Park Station to take people home or to their holiday destinations this festive season. Passengers will be forced to find alternative solutions which are not as affordable. A single economy class ticket on the Shosholoza Mail would have cost 170 Rand on the Johannesburg to Durban route, compared to a taxi or a bus that costs between 350 Rand and 600 Rand per trip. Flights cost even more. Next stop, OR Tambo International, using the Gautrain. While it remains the priciest interconnecting transport mode, with a pay-as-you-go ticket from Park Station to the airport costing 230 Rand, the Gautrain is the quickest and safest way to travel between the two locations without a car, making it easier for passengers to manage their time effectively and not miss their flights.
We might not carry the majority of South Africans, but we possibly are the most efficient transport system that there is for moving people from origin to destination. And we do so with pride, with the network of airports we have.
South Africa's aviation industry is poised for growth. The International Air Transport Association predicts that South Africa's air transport will grow by 105% over the next 20 years. This could result in an additional 21 million passenger journeys by 2037, which could then generate $19 billion in GDP and support nearly 800,000 jobs. South African airports are also ranked among the best in the world.
Aviation as a whole is a very resilient business. It's a very resilient industry. And this has been borne through, especially now, just after we went through the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. But if you pause for a minute, you think back, there were other actually shockwaves that we've gone through before that. So we went through the 911, we went through other pandemics, the Ebola pandemic, for example, the SARS pandemic also. So we have been actually a very resilient industry over the years. But bring it closer to where we are now. We are beginning to see the green shoots of that resilience coming through again.
As the number of passengers grows, so does the need for infrastructure investments. In the first quarter of 2024, the Department of Transport announced a massive 21.7 billion rand cash injection for infrastructure development projects. This investment boost is the biggest since the 2010 Soccer World Cup and is designed to enhance asset availability, airport safety, and passenger experience across its airport network.
At OR Tambo, we're going to get terminal expansion. We're going to get a new cargo midfield terminal because cargo is an area that we've never catered for significantly. In the airport, we've got old cargo facilities. Even though we refurbished them, we actually think this airport deserves, as the major, the most important aviation cargo hub in Africa, with big manufacturing capability in South Africa, we think we deserve more. On the back of the African Continental Free Trade Area, we actually think we deserve more state-of-the-art robotics, efficient cargo facility in order to just plug in to that intra-Africa trade. Very important issue for us. So OR Tambo, there's a focus on that and some improvements around busing stations, terminal building, etc. We move on to Cape Town, where we're doing a realignment of the runway. Our runway positioning just needs to be shifted in an angle in order to carry more aircrafts and higher frequencies. That will give us more passengers. But the more urgent issue at Cape Town is the domestic terminal. If you've traveled through Cape Town on a Friday, it's pretty tight with commuters, and that's immediate. We understand that. We also are then going to do some improvements on the international side, but the runway comes first because it's the runway that brings people. The terminal is second. And that's Cape Town largely. I've not included all of them, but the big ones and the main ones in Cape Town are that. In King Shaka, we're going to see extensive work done. There's a hotel that's coming through. There's FBO facilities coming through. And that, by the way, King Shaka, we developed it for 2010 and we stopped. And King Shaka deserves a phase 2 to become a fully fledged airport. Then we have the smaller airports that are also currently constrained. Again, we go out on tender, appoint consultants, the architects, they come and do the final thing beyond concept, and we appoint contractors to come in and start doing the work. So that's work that's already underway.
AXA's investments in infrastructure development has been welcomed by the domestic airline markets.
On a commercial side and more on an airline and consumer side, what we really need to see now over the next couple of weeks, months and years is some economic growth. You know, that's what's going to get us back to those 2019 numbers, is actually having consumers that have the disposable income that can then fly again. And we see those two things working together always. And that's what's really going to be key for the country and for the sector in the medium term.
As far as passenger transportation is concerned, we are the best performing transport mode. We have the highest on-time performance record. We are the most efficient mode of transport. We get people to Durban in 45 minutes, to Cape Town in 2 hours. And I think South Africa is a big country. So if you look at passenger migration, and in the reality is our country is a highly migratory country. So people move into Joburg, out of Joburg, into Joburg, seasonal migration. And that seasonal migration is just what South Africa is, unavoidably. So what we understand as our role as aviation is we literally should be the integrator even of the other modes that help people.
The Airlines Association of Southern Africa, which plays a critical role of advocacy on behalf of its member airlines, believes that Africa could reap further rewards with the creation of one single air transport market in Africa that will increase connectivity and decrease journey and waiting times.
South Africa was one of the 18 founding members of the Single Africa Air Transport Market Project, which is an African Union 2063 flagship project. And today, as we speak, South Africa is also one of the 20 countries that have signed up for what we call the pilot implementation project of the Single Africa Air Transport Market. What does that mean? It means South Africa is committing to making sure that the bottlenecks that you talk about are going to be opened up, not only for South Africa, but for all operators within the SADC region and actually across the entire globe.
While forecasts are strong for the aviation sector, the country's road network remains a popular choice for commuters and tourists. South Africa's national roads are at the end of their design life and the infrastructure backlog is growing. From OR Tambo International Airport, we took a flight to Durban, driving down the N2 South from King Shaka International Airport to connect with the N2 Wild Coast. On average, this 2-hour trip took 3 hours due to the roadworks along the highway.